Hey guys, welcome to my brand new podcast. This is Thanks I Ate It, and my name is Meg Van Huygen. I am a longtime journalist here in Seattle. I've been covering food and drink pretty exclusively in the last 10 years or so. And this new podcast, I want to expand. My last podcast was about mostly just restaurants in Seattle specifically, and now I'd like to expand my guests to people all over the Pacific Northwest, including Alaska, even as far down as San Francisco, which isn't really Pacific Northwest. We could do Hawaii, and I want to talk about not only just restaurants and chefs, but I want to talk to producers, farmers, distillers, cheesemongers, people who make food and people who work in food, writers, that kind of thing. So with me on my right, I've got Jeff Kelley, who's going to produce the show for me. Jeff, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, I've been living and working in the restaurant industry in Seattle since 2018, and I'm just really excited to be part of this project with you. I have
Me too.
I do a lot of audio stuff on the side, so this is a natural thing to do once Meg and I met through my union organizing efforts, which I'm sure we'll talk about in the future. But yeah,
I'm sure we will.
that's what my deal is, and
And you're bartending by day these days?
yeah, bartending and serving on the roof at the Populous Hotel at night, which
Nice.
has been really fun now that it's Seahawks crunch time. The whole
Yeah.
city is on fire on the weekends the past couple weeks, which has been really nice.
Is it Fern or Fearn?
Well, it's Fearn.
It really is.
It really is. Which,
I
you
tried to
know,
check in at concierge and they corrected me, and I was like, no. But then I realized there's Fern Thai on Capitol Hill. Is that why? Because there's another restaurant called Fern, the Thai place?
no, it's because it's
No.
because Fearn is a Scandinavian word that they chose to use. It's like deliberate. It's
Got
a
it.
geological thing that happens when ice that's glacial like melts, but then it like refreezes or something. I don't know.
Brendan McGill, did you know this?
No, no, news to me. I do, I'm excited about that hotel being there though, because it's
Yeah.
proximity to the ferry, which is like in my flight path. So,
Those are some of my favorite guests, honestly. People that, especially in the winter, like when it's slow, like people that are waiting for the ferry, I love hanging out with them for like a half an hour.
hmm yeah, just a good excuse to burn 45 minutes at a bar somewhere, have a snack, you know.
Yeah, on a roof. And speaking of ferries, with us today, we've got a ferry. No, we've got Bainbridge Island and Seattle based chef Brendan McGill joining us on our very first episode, which is fun because you were the first guest on our last podcast, too, yeah?
Yeah, I suppose so. I'm honored to be
You're
here.
always my inaugural guest. How you been? I heard you made a big pivot out there.
Yeah, we just had a really nice holiday weekend.
Mm,
Everybody leaves the city and comes and hangs around on Bainbridge Island and places like that. So,
yeah.
it was really nice to be, just like super busy for a few days, and then we had our one of our supper club dinners on Sunday. So I just my day off yesterday was fantastic. Here, just stayed on the farm and kind of did chores all day long. Hung out with my kids, but yeah, January. It's a sleepy time, but I think both in the restaurants and on the farm, it's kind of like where you get everything ready for when it's going to be busy. So I'm trying not to just be in the busy trap and just kind of like you want to kind of get the 10,000 foot view at this time of year and try to lay the plans out so that everything goes the way it's supposed to when the rubber meets the road again.
Right? How did the dinner go?
It was so good. Yeah, thank you. It was our first in the series of this season, which we're calling Chez Bobo, and it's this French concept. It's a socioeconomic class known as bourgeois bohème, and
Okay.
so it's kind of like it's different than the Parisian hipster. This would be sort of like your well-heeled millennial, and their restaurants and a design aesthetic and fashion is something that is well marketed to and sort of established. And so that was the theme and the inspiration. You know, Chef Greg Atkinson closed his Marche restaurant on Bainbridge last year, and we thought it would be fun to just do a little French bistro revival as one of the concepts we got to play with for the supper clubs. But you know, doing it our way, and so that's where this Bobo thing came out of, and it
Yeah.
was a tremendous. It was really fun.
What'd you serve?
Um, you know, I started the week by making a bunch of different charcuteries because
Nice.
cassoulet was kind of the main hitter. So we cured and smoked some pork rib loin, and I made merguettes, crepinettes out of lamb and caul fat, and some Toulouse style sausage for the main. And there was a little salad with like soubise and some confit duck. Got our hands on some foie gras duck legs, which were really nice. And in the beginning, you know, sourdough and this big spread of different vegetable dishes. People share. We make people sit next to people they don't know and then serve like a course for four and be like, this is for
Good.
the four of you. So people are passing things around and making new friends and having great conversations, which isn't something that you see in a lot of the like tasting menu. I see it all the time when we do like farm dinners and charity dinners and stuff. That's common then, but usually when people buy their tickets to their fancy prefix, they want their own table or they would expect that. So this one's kind of fun. We had
You're
a
like their
pappardelle
dad.
dish. Right,
You're like
yeah.
their
Sit
dad.
together
It's
and
good
be
for them.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the dinner dad.
We we burnt a bunch of grains in the wood-fired oven, these farro grains, to make a pappardelle. That
Nice.
they call it grana arso. It's like this roasty, rich, almost like a chocolate or other sort of like dark roast item. And then we had a bunch of wild mushrooms loaded up in them, and then seasoned it with our farro shio koji. Because something about bobo specifically is that it's very grain aware. Like you're swapping out all of the white bleached industrial
Mm-hmm.
flours for much grains of much higher quality. So I was proud of that dish.
Cool. Do you grow the farro or do you have it brought in?
No, this is from Bluebird Grain Farm up in
Cool.
Winthrop. Yeah,
Okay. Great.
it's pretty wet here to grow grain,
Yeah.
um, and it does great in the North Cascades.
In
And
Eastern
what a
Washington.
beautiful
Yeah.
drive to go pick it up, man.
Yeah.
You know,
I just was watching Mind of a Chef, and it was Chef Sean Brock who was just talking about how farro grows really well in the South. So I was learning about the history of farro. So I'm like,
yeah,
it grows really well, but you're right, it's damp here. We're not down in Georgia or South Carolina or wherever the show was set. So good point.
yeah, yeah. Maybe it's damp there too, but just I don't know, hotter in the summer or something. I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
mean, we could give it a try. We don't have the kind
Yeah.
of anchorage you really need to get serious about growing wheat. I think
Yeah.
that's easier going in the Mazama Valley.
Right. I always want to grow everything in my little Tacoma backyard. Will you
You
talk
do
a little
good.
bit about the farm? Yeah, I know. I don't. I'm okay for a year two, but will you talk a little bit about your farm? Your farm's in Kingston, yeah.
Yeah, so the address is in Kingston. It's located in the North Kitsap Peninsula in between Kingston and Indianola, um, on South Kingston Road. And we've been here for just about 3 years now. So still a project. Um, it is a historic piece of land that was under one family's ownership for about 70 years before we bought it. And before that, the homesteaders had it. So we're the third family to live here, I suppose, since it was
Amazing.
not considered to be owned by anybody.
Right.
Um, and it's great. It's well within the path of development, so our eyes are sort of on preservation and trying to take care of the place and make it agricultural. Maybe like a agritourism angle, or some events. The kind of things you need to do to make farming viable in I guess it's formerly rural and
Yeah.
now edging into suburban environment. So we're here right now. I'm out my camper, so you can
Nice.
see
Oh, you're
the
the
pasture
camper.
now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love a
Well,
camper.
it's a quiet place. I can work.
Sure. No, that's
I
perfect. I
haven't
should get
I
one.
haven't finished the office yet, so this is the office at home.
Cool. You're not the
Yeah,
first
it's
person to make an office out of a camper, that's for sure.
no doubt. Yeah, it's great. We are there's an old orchard here that we're in the process of sort of rehabilitating. Um,
Okay.
our friend Michael Chick from Le Pichet, He used some of our apples in his last vintage of his St. Louis cider. So that's fun that they've already kind of found
Cool.
their way into some production. And we've
I
got
gotta
a
write
little
that
flock
down.
of, yeah, it's really cool. And there's big plans obviously down the road to expand stuff, but we're just bootstrapping it out here. And so, one thing at a time.
Great. And what else are you growing out there? Are you growing meat out there? Or are you sourcing the meat from elsewhere?
We sold our hogs to our mutual friend David Nichols
That's
last
right.
summer.
So now
Yeah,
they're in Wenatchee or
that's
Cashmere or
right.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, we ran that program for about 10 years and it yielded just just like a hot and cold running pork, this endless, spectacular pork. In fact, having the program would challenge me. Like the CSA made it really easy to move like big units of it. But before we had that program going, it was like, what do I do with all this, So we had a Mangalitsa breeding pair
I was
and
gonna say
we
they're Margalitsa, they're Hungarian, yeah.
they're Hungarian lard hogs, which were fantastic for dry cured charcuterie. And at the end of the day, for us running that program on Bainbridge it turned out to be tough. The land we had them on got basically sold into a conservancy, so it became surrounded, crawling with environmental lawyers, which makes it not very friendly for having like a bunch of hogs on.
Right.
And then if they got out of a electric fenced pen somewhere where we'd rotate them into different properties, out in Wenatchee, the neighbor farmer will call you and help you round them up.
Right.
On
Yeah.
Bainbridge, they're tearing up some lawyers like beautiful hardscaping, and it
Yeah.
just became kind of a liability. We
Yeah.
also endured a USDA investigation that was based on somebody's complaint. Took about 2 months and a lot of resources, and they didn't find us at any fault. But the idea that we would raise animals, have them slaughtered, dry cure them, and sell them to our neighbors via like a chef tasting menu was just a little too much for, people buy a beautiful home in an agricultural community and then they're appalled that you
Yeah.
would treat it as such. Um,
Yeah.
so
Well,
out
that
here in
sucks.
Kingston, we can kind of do whatever we want. I mean,
Yeah.
don't quote me to the county, but it's not incorporated as a city.
We won't tell
There's
him. We
no,
won't send him a
yeah.
link.
So no, the livestock plan here would be sheep, mostly as lawnmowers, sort of like nitrogen producers for our
Hmm.
composting tea, and like a little bit of a petting zoo aspect. You come down the
Right.
driveway and you see some beautiful Icelandic sheep standing in a pasture in the mist. It's
Ooh,
like
ice
kind of
sheep.
sexy. I,
Nice.
I dig them. Yeah.
Are you gonna sell
And
the
I'd like to
yarn?
get some goats. What's that?
Are you gonna sell the yarn? That yarn's expensive from the
Yeah,
ice sheep.
perhaps. Yeah. I mean, it's really fun. You can't have a farm without animals, and then the animals take a lot of care. And, doing it ourselves, you get this investment. Like, I built the chicken coop. The house is about 16 hens last summer. And, you put your like sweat into it out there in the summer sun and dedicate your weekend, your day off to it, and involve family and other community. And
Hmm.
the eggs become very special then. That's
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to use that, and kind of, I don't know, everyone that I fuck with in our restaurant group that we buy from, and this is the lifestyle that we're trying to support,
Hmm.
propagate, and kind of help allow a future for. So it's like we got to do it too.
That's really beautiful. Are your I know the answer to this, but just for expository reasons, you're mostly Bainbridge based these days after being Seattle based for over a decade?
Yeah, yeah. Well, all my cooking in Seattle, I mean, I worked as a professional cook and chef from 2002 until 2010. And then I opened our first restaurant on Bainbridge in 2010. And then I was back in Seattle 2014. I opened little known fact, I was one of the opening partners at Alt Stop down in Pioneer Square, making sausages and kraut for football fans. And then we opened the Hitchcock Deli down in Georgetown that I had up until the pandemic shut us down pretty good down there. Um, and then in 2017, we opened the cafe downtown Seattle at the intersection of money and power there in the central business district. Just like
Yeah.
so crushed out with people every day, just trying to get to their desk
Mm-hmm.
with a breakfast sandwich and a cup of coffee. Pretty
Mm-hmm.
different vibe now, you know?
Uh-huh.
And then our little bar next door in 2019. So now, as you've alluded to, our businesses on Bainbridge are much, much, much busier than our spots downtown. Are just kind of, I would say they're hanging on, but they're not really hanging on. The lease
Okay.
persists. So we
Good to
operate
know.
them like as we have to. Yeah. But the people are gone from our little micro neighborhood. Um, I'd say
Right.
was a big loser in the big shakeup. And that's just the way
Yeah.
it goes.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your pivot from Seabird, which was fine dining, to Kingfisher, which sort of shapeshifts throughout the day? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, basically we bet that after people were allowed to come back out and dine again, that they would be real excited to have a big focus on hospitality, like service, and the trappings of a restaurant that I certainly grew up enjoying, grew up in the business enjoying, where all the little things add up to make your experience very special. And that's one of the big reasons why you're going out after a couple years of grabbing takeout from somebody with a mask on pointing you at a like a metro rack with your order on it. And obviously that just was not the move because I guess to my surprise, that style of dining I just referred to, where you walk in and you punch your order into the computer and somebody runs out with a mask and hands it on the metro rack. That's normal now. That's not going anywhere. And full service, it seems like, is becoming something you see more in the spaces of like hotels, places that have a different kind of budget, a different focus on how they allocate their budget to have, full service operation. So, I guess I found that at Seabird, every time I made it more casual and accessible, we had better sales and higher cover counts. And then that would really propel us through the summertime. We'd have great big tourist driven summers. And then in the winter, when things would always slow up, then the casual, um, we'll say the guest check averages that go along with those casual meals didn't keep the lights on with 40 seats and a full brigade with a chef and a sous chef and a bunch of cooks and a
Right.
dishwasher and a general manager and a bar director and a couple servers. And, like, if you're going in to a service with eight employees now, eight people working together on a team, if you don't ring like $6,000, you're not going to have anywhere close to the cost percentage that you need to hit a budget. Um, so
Right.
it became inevitable that we were going to have to change what we were doing there. And what I wanted to preserve was the opportunity to like cook special meals for people. Like we were talking about this Shea Bobo, the supper club. Um, People in the community were really outspoken that they wanted a place that they can go for their birthdays and anniversaries. Like, where are we supposed to go have that special meal? Like, everybody loves that they can get pizza at Bruciato. That's great. They can bring the team there, go on a date there, just take out, and they can go to the cafe next door and have burgers and fish and chips and chicken sandwiches and stuff. And like, they appreciate the quality everyday foods. Like, they really hit it hard. But the idea of doing a multi-use space was, how can I preserve part of our effort to do these special things and roll out with, like, you know next week I'm getting a bunch of uni from a diver who is like,
Mm-hmm.
we finally got the direct connection. I can't sell that at the cafe, right? Like, there's just no
Right.
market for it. So I think the decision to make this multi-use space was so that we could maintain the grown-up side of things, right? The elegant dinner that you might use for your special occasion, where you can feel all of the special little touches of hospitality and eat food that isn't isn't designed to take out equally well, you know?
Right.
Like when we opened Seabird, I was like, this is the anti-takeout, like you
Yeah.
cannot take out this ceviche and these oysters,
Or the
right?
oysters.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, why would you even want to, Um, and so it was sort of a bunch of life experience and then this this desire to still want to provide this, but knowing I can't do this 6 nights a week
Right.
and break without breaking the bank. Um,
Right.
so we're in the middle of the experiment right now. And
You just started in January?
yeah, that's right.
Cool. So you're fresh off. You're hitting the ground running already.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah, we're about a month in. I mean, we did it for most of December.
You did. Okay.
I think the great thing about the supper club, we can do as many or as little as we want. So like if I released a season of supper clubs and they're every Sunday and I'm like trying to hustle these tickets, I can't sell them. Okay, we'll just do less of them next time,
Right.
whatever the demand is for them, I can expand and contract that. Um,
Smart.
and then getting people in for the dinner service that we do 4 nights a week right now. That's actually been the challenge. It's like
Hmm.
they, a lot of people will come to me and say like, "Oh, we're so glad you're doing this, that you pivoted and you're saving the nice place." And I say, "Oh, thanks. Yeah, have you checked it out yet?" And they're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
no,
right.
actually we haven't."
Yeah.
So it kind of remains to be seen. One of the nice aspects to it, we connected it to the cafe space next door, so it can
Okay.
operate as overflow seating for the cafe
Smart.
in the daytime when we're not operating, and we have a little market of goods there, so people can shop retail or. And I feel like we're just starting to scratch the surface of what that can actually mean.
Yeah.
How that connects together. Um, whether
Sounds very versatile. Like it sounds like it can just go according to your whims and the weather and
Mhm. It has to.
whatever's, yeah, whatever season it is. Yeah.
We found out
That's smart.
fast that like paying somebody to stand there on Wednesday all day and operate the market and then oversee the overflow seating didn't pencil out. But
Right.
like after this last weekend, I'm thinking, man, maybe on Saturday and Sunday we should open it early, operate the market, let people sit there all day because well, ostensibly that'll bring more sales for the cafe. And the whole
Right.
goal was to be able to be very light on our toes.
Yeah.
It, it's tough because there's part of me that just I'm so dedicated to this style of dining that I
Hmm.
put the blinders on as far as like shrewd business is concerned.
Right.
And yeah, I feel like, investor meetings sometimes look like, why is that just not a New York style pizzeria right now?
Right.
And I don't
is that
have
a
much,
quote?
um, kind of,
Not quite. Ish.
and it's like, and I don't have a great answer for that other than I
Yeah.
feel like the world needs this. And then it's
Hmm.
like, okay, well, hopefully that shakes out on the P&L.
Well, it
So,
sounds like
we're
I don't mean to interrupt, but I
no,
wanted to
please.
say for a few minutes now that I have a lot of respect for what you're doing as somebody who's hearing this, a lot of this kind of for the first time. I heard you talk about earlier people moving to a rural area and then being surprised that it has like aspects of it that are rural. And as somebody who also grew up in a very rural area, like we do rely on business owners that provide things for the small communities. Like you're giving them all sorts of things, and then you're also saying like, oh, you guys want a place to go for your anniversaries and for special occasions. I happen to love doing that, so I want to provide that for you as well, but you kind of have to meet me halfway. And that's like what the supper club offers, is that it might not be exactly on your birthday, but like this is when we're all agreeing that enough of us can get together that it's efficient for this person to provide us with this experience. Like you
That's
can't just
exactly
sit
right.
around every day and wait for the few people that decide to come in that day. The community has to say, if we want to support this person, we all have to be there at the same time, and
Hmm.
It's
that's
just
really the
true.
bottom line. And
Yeah,
what you were saying earlier about relying on tourism, like I work in a hotel and I work downtown, and I don't know what it was like downtown before COVID, apart from just like going there from time to time. Like I never worked there before 2020,
mhm,
and the business model still continues to be, well, the World Cup's going to be here.
right. Yeah.
Really?
Like they're, oh,
Wow.
absolutely. That's like why all this stuff has been getting built in the time frame that it's been getting built. Like
Hmm.
everybody is banking on the World Cup bringing revenue into the city. And what you're saying is like, I want to serve a community of people that can also help me be there. And I know it's like a lot more
Absolutely.
complicated than that. And like you referenced that like the lease persists earlier, and it's like, yeah, it's also really, if it weren't so expensive for you to do what you did, then maybe you'd be able to be like even more accommodating than you already are. And like, what's that worth to the people that like could be paying more property taxes? So like, I don't mean to get super into it, but like, it just
No,
seems
I think
like
it's
you're
good to
trying
get
to
into it.
provide something for your community, and it
Hmm.
seems like you're doing so from a place that's like just because you really want to.
It's thank you. It's true. I mean, I don't mind saying that that the company that holds those Seabird and the cafe and our former farm and bake shop and all these efforts um since the pandemic hasn't really shown profit. I mean, if I do, it's just I'm paying off debt. And so, without it's not like, woe is me, because I we had 10 good years before that started. But I am not going there like putting my pants on and lacing up my boots just to go try to extract as much cash as I can out of that effort. I mean, hopefully we are able to do that one day. But I think I I kind of have a funny perspective on business. Like I just want to win more than I lose, and as long as I get to keep playing the game, I feel like it's working out. Another
That's very
aspect
quotable.
about thank you.
It's a very
Um,
chef thing to say as well. I feel like you have to have that to be like the kind of chef you are. You have to be a little bit risky.
I we have some things that have worked so well for us over the years in our group, and some things that have been big stinkers. And I had equal ambition to do them both. Like, I don't take huge credit for my wins and then beat myself up over the losses because I felt like they were just as good of ideas. You just don't always know the way that, you can't read the future.
I
Um,
was gonna say there are so many things out of your control. Like just because you happened to open a restaurant in 2019 doesn't mean it was a bad idea if it folded in 2020. Like
Right.
it's not a reflection of
Absolutely.
how well you can cook.
No. Have you guys heard this term, the foodie era, describing 2010 to 2019?
No, I don't like it already though.
I do.
You do
Yeah.
like it.
I like it. I think it's
Thanks. I like it.
I think it's
Right.
a very accurate term without you even describing it yet.
Without
Do tell.
realizing that we were
Please
in it.
explain.
Yeah. This was this Washington Restaurant Association presentation, and they were saying like we all remember the foodie era during this time where it was like food journalism was huge. Everybody was like standing for like Anthony Bourdain and they were coming out of culinary school ready to cook, and business and real estate, everything was expanding so hard in a lot of especially the Seattle area, but in lots of major metropolitan areas. So developers were just throwing spaces and big tenant improvement allowances to operators. So when you see the incredible expansions of like Sea Creatures and Ethan Stoll restaurants and my own group to a different degree, um, it's fueled by this desire. Everyone's going out to eat, they're taking pictures for their Instagram. They're like checking, it's like a passport check. Like I went to that place, I had the lunch, I'm showing
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
And there's social currency in being like awareness of these places. Like, oh, what's your favorite place to have, a three-course lunch or something?
Right.
And it's over, right? Like that died in 2019. Now we're
Yeah.
into a different era. Takeout, Uber Eats,
Yeah.
um,
No shit.
you know, fried chicken. When was the last time
God
you
damn it.
saw a magazine article about somebody's sourcing efforts, right? Like it used to be so important. It was like
I mean, I
the
see it all the
thing.
time, but I'm not the person to ask. Like, because I read Edible Seattle or whatever. But yeah, I point taken. I feel you.
I have kind of a theory about why this is partly possible for it to happen in this time frame as well. Because although I wasn't in Seattle until 2018, I did finish going to college in 2011, and it was music school. And there were many of us in my age group that went to school for things that they didn't really care weren't going to net them like a job.
Right.
So there was a surplus of talented and creative people like almost everybody I worked with from the years of like 2010 to 2018 were like immensely good at something else that just didn't happen to be like worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right.
So they
Yeah.
also got really good at making cocktail menus and like really
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
Right.
at creating tasting
Yeah.
menus
Baristas.
and like
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it became a cultural thing because people who were used to being part of the culture, that's what they were doing for a living all of a sudden. It wasn't like a
Hmm.
thing that was separate from people that like if you people used to go to college and then be the kind of people that would dine out at those establishments because they were in a higher class, but that doesn't happen anymore. College isn't
Right.
like it doesn't have to be worth that if you don't want it to be anymore and people can
Yeah, it
just
doesn't
start
necessarily
working in
get you
restaurants
there
like
either.
that.
Like we have
Right.
so many college PhDs working on our service teams, and it's
Yeah.
not to
I
say
bet.
that that was not time well spent, but it didn't get like a career
Yeah.
Right. And
in
I
their
know
field.
people who even have had successful careers after they went to college in the thing they went to college for, and then they decided to work in restaurants in their 30s because they were like,
Hmm.
not, it wasn't what I wanted it to be. And there's a lot of really cool things about working in restaurants, even just as a front of a house
Well,
person. You know, like you don't like I
well,
don't have as deep
especially.
of a knowledge of food as you do, but like I still just have I've loved being around it for the past like 25 years professionally, you know?
Oh, it's so noble, and I feel like our culture doesn't value it the way that it deserves until very recently, when you look at like I feel like Will Guidara's Unreasonable Hospitality book and the sort of movement that that has inspired shows that people really crave a human connection. It matters. It doesn't matter if you're at a hotel bar or having like a at the bank or doing a real estate transaction. Being able to connect with the humans that are you're providing a service for and
Right.
make them feel some kind of way is just immensely powerful.
Jeff, I've heard you say very humbly lately that you don't have the knowledge that I might have or that Brendan might have, but like you have boots on the ground knowledge that I don't have at all. I just sit at my desk. Like I go to restaurants a lot, but I'm the user.
Well,
You're in it. You're in the soup.
to reiterate what Brendan just said, I think that the knowledge I do have is that, and it's becoming more and more apparent the older I get, that the time I spend at work interacting with people that aren't like on the internet or aren't like the same three people I interact with on a regular basis and just
Yeah.
having those like human connections with people just because they're also humans is probably the most mentally healthy thing I do on a weekly basis. I'm not saying that I go to work thinking that I'm gonna be like so happy the whole time either. Like I dread going to work just like anybody else does. Sometimes. But like
Don't worry, I hate it too. Yeah.
yeah, but like I just know that it's the best thing for me is like just being around real people that are, fortunately for me, having a great time most of the time. Like if you're out
Yeah.
at a restaurant, if you're on the roof of a hotel, you're usually doing pretty well. So like
Yeah, not bad.
I get to see people
One
when
would
they're
hope
having a
so.
good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
One of our
impressed by your
guests.
knowledge. You have a lot of knowledge I don't, including like oysters. Like you work with oysters all day. I know very little about oysters. I know which ones I like, but you both have knowledge that I don't have. So I think it's all sorts. It's spread around.
Takes all
It really
kinds.
matters. I feel like if we're
Yeah.
gonna sell the importance of spending extra money to have a true hospitality experience instead of just picking up the bag of fried chicken, from the window or having it Uber Eats to your house, we're then it's on us to provide a service that wins over the guests and makes them say, "That's why I come here." That's I Jeff was there and he could tell I wasn't having a great day, and through his generous sharing of himself and then the food and everything else that happened, I'm restored and I feel like a whole
Right.
person, and that's what we leave our house for.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you, man.
For explaining it so succinctly, Brendan. I feel like, yeah, you just gave me clarity about what I'm trying to do. So I appreciate that.
Hey, let me tell you this little
Because
anecdote because
sharing
this is
yourself is
crazy.
a thing. Like that's what I do, and that's why I'm saying it's healthy. Is that like it does feel like I'm giving myself to people a little bit every time, and it's an act of vulnerability, and it's also an act of strength, and it's an
Hmm.
act of like community. Because people give it to you in return, and it takes effort on both sides.
That's heavy.
I had a guest in the cafe this weekend drop off a copy of Hemingway's short stories for me with a
Okay.
bookmark in a page. and
Okay.
it was the well-lighted place. And it was a tiny short story, basically getting at the importance of of a third place for human connection. It would be the synopsis. And I just, it's like, it's so humbling, like this person felt that way, connected it to this literary classic, brought it in for me, wanted to share that.
Right.
It sounds,
Y-
you know, I don't know what it sounds like, but I was really touched, and I feel like it matters to people. It's important work.
You wouldn't have that connection with Uber Eats, right? That's the point.
No, that's
Yeah.
the whole
I've
point of
never
what we
used Uber
do.
Eats, by the way. I'm proud of myself. I've never used it even one time. It defeats the point of liking restaurants. That's not what I like about restaurants, having it delivered
Right.
to my door in a styrofoam clamshell. That's not what I want. So,
I think that Yelp culture and even some of our, like, let's say, current legacy media food writers don't really seem like they like restaurants.
yeah, no shit.
You share enough just negativity and skepticism about people's motivations, and you kind of shine this like, it's like it's like you're seeing through, like what we do is uh, it's a facade, and that someone's going to see through it and poke holes in it, and prove that we're actually just there to like pick your pockets and trick you.
Right. It's a trick.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a big trick, and it's just so unfortunate. I think that's another, it's another harbinger of the end of the foodie era, writers that are
Hmm.
gourmands, and they don't just love food and know a lot about it, but they love the experience of dining in a restaurant and how that makes you feel,
Yeah.
and they understand it.
So if the foodie era can't come back, what's the new era?
Well, restaurants have been around for a long time, right? Um, and so I think if it's less driven by Instagram, sharing that you were there, social capital for having been at the cool place, and traveling all over the region to hit the farm to table darling of the decade or of the year, which I certainly enjoyed that era. We benefited greatly from it, um, contributed to it. Now I think we're kind of back where it used to be, where it's like what everything we just talked about, restoring people, giving them something special, reminding them why they left the house, the importance of a third place, the human connection, um, and just sort of like relaying a foundation brick by brick with guests who leave the restaurant feeling better than they entered the restaurant. Um,
It sounds like it needs to
I
come
have
from a
great
much
faith in
more
it.
sincere place this time. Like as somebody who was thriving in the foodie era, it was fun, but I wouldn't say it was like heartfelt. It was kind of like it was more like I've Got a Feeling by the Black Eyed Peas on repeat. Like it wasn't actually like a real emotion. It was just like delusion that the world was actually going in the right direction at one point in time.
I
I
agree.
gotta look that one up.
So I think that they list the names, the days of the week. It's great.
Lord.
But I'm saying what you're describing has a lot more sincerity because it's needed. It feels like it's necessary. Like that, what if the foodie era was extracurricular? This is like a vital thing that you're talking about that I think really like people need to think about, like what place do restaurants have in my community and how important are they? Like we started getting called essential workers in 2020. Like I never thought about myself like that until we started getting called that. And I'm still not saying that like I think I deserve that title compared to people who are like working in medical facilities, but it's like we do need to be in communities because that's what people want. Like people want to live in places where they can have nice meals, and like unlike Uber Eats, it
Yeah.
takes a little bit of effort on your part to sustain a place like that.
Absolutely. I think that we're just dealing with a technology disruption too right now. And the fact that you can Uber Eats now
Right.
has shifted. Like maybe there will be a time where that'll become déclassé. I mean, maybe in a few years, instead of being like, look, I'm just going to Uber Eats so I can stay on my, like, you know, video game with the bros or
Right.
whatever. I have no idea why people do Uber Eats because
Yeah,
I've
no,
never
me
done it
neither. I
either.
don't know.
That maybe it'll be like not recycling, like people will be like, ew, you had Uber bring you your food. That's
Right.
weird,
Disgusting.
you know?
Yeah.
Literally always thought that about it. Like it never was.
Yeah.
It was never like
I don't
that
want
wasn't a
that.
transitional period. That was like the first thing where I was like, wait, you don't like going to the grocery store?
It
Like
hmm
defeats the
they
point.
have
Like,
everything you could ask for, and you just give them money and you can take it with you. Like it's
here's the thing.
I don't
I
know.
think these people don't know how to cook at all. Like, they don't know how to saute onions. They don't know how to do anything at all. And so, in order to eat, you must purchase food. So, it can't be a sit down, convivial gathering with your neighbors and friends every single time. They also may or may not care about what it tastes like. Like, I dated a guy who probably made $250,000 a year, and he ordered Taco Bell delivery all the time. Like, he did not care. He did want to keep playing his first person shooter. That's why he would do
Yeah,
it. I didn't
that's
date
why
him for
they
very
do
well.
it.
It's taking the
He didn't
ritual away
care.
from food.
He didn't care. He said, "Say I'm hungry. I could get a
hmm
pepperoni pizza from Domino's. Like, what's the cheapest option?" They don't give a fuck. So they're not you and me, right? They don't. They're not motivated by what we're motivated by.
You said the ritual around the food, and I think it's an important thing to note that America food culture is um like not I mean, America's food culture would be like fast food if you were to
Yeah.
define
Yeah.
what we gave to the world for food culture.
I
It's
was gonna say
McDonald's.
sitting on the hood of your car with a bag of fast food is the most American food thing I can think of.
Right.
Sitting on a Corvette in like on like Route
Yeah.
66 eating a burger is like the American portrait.
Drive through.
Totally. Yeah, and I don't think that people's enjoyment of dining out is limited to that, but it's just kind of one of the things that we're up against. If a bunch of the share of dining dollars has gone to corporate like delivery services from, fast food joints, we just need to give people a good reason to want to come out and dine. And I see it now, I feel like I think it's going to swing back our way. We just have to remember it's important, and we got to take great care of them when they come in. I think that the industry taking some responsibility for why people don't like to go out and eat is a little bit is something that we also need to face.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I super agree with that. Travel to like any other city, they're a lot happier that you're there. It's true.
Yeah.
Like
oh
as somebody who
yeah, I
hardly
mean,
travels, like even if you go to Portland, like people are like you walk into a restaurant and they like smile at you, and like when you come to Seattle, it's just not always the case.
I always say everyone in Seattle has autism, and I say this as an autism. They don't want to connect with people. They want to fill their bellies. We attract more autisms, like the people who move here. They're like, oh, great, I can be autistic openly. I'm going to do it. And yeah, it's
okay,
very unique culture. I agree with you. Even in Portland, it's different.
so I'll try not to. Let's see if I can say this without like canceling myself.
I know. I was gonna say like the same
Yeah.
thing. Like I
How
don't know what to
dare
talk
you?
about right now.
No, let's let it go. I feel
Yeah.
like people take on the tism as like an affectation because they just moved to Seattle and they feel like it would be so
Yeah.
much cooler to death stare someone who walked into the restaurant. Part of that, I think, is a lot of messaging that like you went to work that day, capitalism just like stole your labor, and um, so you already hate it. You're like, what am I even doing? I'll never be able to buy a house. Capitalism just stole my labor today, my life. And this person walking in getting the $10 matcha is like just some rich fucker who's just lucky, I guess, and that's not me. So like,
Yeah.
fuck you. I'll stare you down,
Yeah.
And I've heard that sentiment,
I
circulating
have too.
amongst and I implore anyone who feels that way to just do anything else,
Yeah.
like the greatest waste of your own life that you could take on yourself, and this is your responsibility, is just to trade hours of your life for
Yeah.
dollars doing something you dislike.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is like no matter how much you think people aren't like selling themselves to capitalism, it's still on you as an individual person to decide how you're going to grapple with that. And I would say that if your goal is to continue to be miserable every day, then you can keep like not showing up for the people that are coming into the coffee shop or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
even if you think that your labor, your life is getting stolen and there's nothing you can do about it, like you could at least make your day at work a little bit better by trying to get something out of what you do have control over. And
That would be very self-aware, and they're not going to do.
And I'm not saying I do that either. You know, like anybody who sits around and says that that's not like, you know, I've been the person that doesn't smile before too. You know, like I'm sure chefs had days when he doesn't want to smile as well. Like it gets hard sometimes to grapple with like why you're in the position you're in the world. But like,
nah, Brendan's always smiling.
You know, anytime I have to do something too guest facing for too long, I will find myself having this reaction sometimes to some random thing someone said that took me off guard. And I give all the credit to the service team professionals who are really exquisite at managing that, because you'll be like, I'll feel so centered and like all these all this like sincere beliefs that I hold that you would think would help be like your North Star through these situations. And then somebody just walks up to you and says the dumbest shit. And it would be like so easy to be sarcastic or, you know, or just, not appreciative that they, you know, not remembering what you came to do that day.
Yeah.
You do have to have thick skin, and you have to kind of just meet people where they're at and not think too much about it sometimes, which I will say is a skill that took me years to get better at. Like I still get affected by stuff people say sometimes, but like not, you know, not nearly as much as when I first started working in that position. Like you just, I don't know, people, it's interesting because I talked about having such a connection with like, you know, the idea of people coming in earlier, but like at the same time, you do view the individual as like less of a high stakes situation after you've done it like for years and years and years. You know, it is just kind of like another face that you're talking to. So when they do something that's like crazy out of pocket, or like they have an interaction that you're made to feel like you did something that was like not appropriate or whatever, sometimes you just feel like, well, that was a weird thing that happened with that person. Like I don't really know what I don't really think I need to think about that anymore. Like you kind of just get to like move on. But it is a hard skill, and I know what you're talking about. Like you're in the middle of like delivering a speech, or somebody's asking you a question that you have like an answer to, and then you just get blindsided by somebody being absolutely ridiculous in some way. You know, like whether it's just like something you personally detest, like deep down, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe you said something that I could possibly hate so truly. Or it's like just, oh, you're drunk and you totally just threw me off because you're just being a drunk person. Like there's this whole spectrum of things that could happen at any moment, and you just have to.
I can't believe you said something that I could hate so possibly truly.
I think you have to practice a sort of a radical compassion. You know, I have these exercises where I sort of think, you know, like what if I was with my mom and she said something goofy at a restaurant? Not that she would, Mom, if you're listening to this, but you know, sort of this practice, like that's someone's mom, you know. And I've been in places where, you know, I have all these examples that we use in some of our HR of like, you know, I happen to know that this person's like husband just died or something, or and then you can sort of play that one out all the way. And it's not like there's any excuses to go around mistreating people who are in hospitality. You know, everybody used to always say, I get these bad reviews on like Google or Yelp or whatever. They would say, my waiter thought he was better than me. and I would laugh because it was because we promoted this thing that we don't have to show up and get like abused by people, you know? And I thought, well, gosh, for you, is there really this sort of social hierarchy? Like, are you pretty sure you're better than him, but then he knew more about wine than you, and now you're pretty sure that he thinks he's better than you, and you will not abide that, you know?
Right, well, it's a contest.
They don't see the third choice being that they're equal. Like there's a third possibility here that I would argue is the by far and away most healthiest ability. Like
there's a pecking order in every interaction for these people.
Thinking about it like it's somebody's mom though is fun. My mom would definitely say some crazy shit.
My mom says
So
some crazy shit to
yeah,
people. My mom will say like, "Oh, how's the taco salad?" And the server was like, "It's good." And then my mom will be like, "Well, you don't look like you eat a lot of taco salads because you're so thin." I'll be like, "You have to shut the fuck up right
damn,
now.
that's
Like, we gotta
crazy.
go. Sorry, canceled. We gotta leave."
You know,
Yeah,
yeah. Well,
that's
it
just her
matters.
personality.
It's great when
Yeah.
it's a mom, but like the same logic does not apply if it's like, oh, that's somebody's dad. You're like, yeah, I
Yeah.
bet that's someone trying to
I don't
like
give a
beat their
fuck.
ass right now. Yeah, like,
You need to get the fuck out of my
yeah,
restaurant.
there's no compassion there when it's somebody's dad.
I
Yeah.
love Danny Meyer's philosophy. Basically, I think it's just the way he was wired was like if you saw someone appearing to not enjoy themselves and not have a good time, that they became this fun challenge that he really got a lot out of personally to like turn it around for them.
I think you
Yeah.
get a lot
And
professionally out of that too. He says that in his
Yeah.
book. Is it
well,
setting the
yeah,
table where he talks about that, where it's like you literally have a better experience overall if something went poorly at the start and then it was recovered and you're like higher than you were before than if you had
right,
just
yeah,
gone
You
in
gamify it.
and then
It's a game.
and then if everything just went according to plan, you're like, oh well, that was cool. That's what I thought it was going to be. Like everything was great.
yeah.
But then when there's this
You,
aspect of like, oh, they actually cared to like save this and make it more than it was supposed to be because it like almost wasn't, like there's this drama that's involved. So like of course it's a better situation for everybody. Totally agree.
writing the last chapter.
So
Is
what's
that what it's
that?
called?
Writing the last chapter. I think that's what he calls it.
That's what he
You know,
calls
there's
it.
this
Yeah.
it's this story, and someone could have like a terrible experience, and then you do something wacky, like you know, they're going to be late for their ferry. We used to do this all the time. They realize, oh, there's a 9:45. After that, it's 11:30. Well, what am I supposed to do on Bainbridge Island for 2 hours by myself? It's cold out. Everything's closed, and
Yeah.
you're like, leaves in 7 minutes. My truck's outside. Hop in, right? And I just blast them a quarter mile down the road, and then they roll
Wow.
out, and they're like, I can't believe you gave us a ride to the boat. You're like,
Yeah.
so easy, so easy to do, and then that becomes their fun story. Or
Well,
Yeah.
like
that's also
we
the
had these
benefit
wedding
of being in
clients.
a rural place too. Like that's the kind of stuff that
Yeah.
I'm talking about. Like my mom has given people she drove a guy's wallet back to his house after he left it at the
Oh
bar a
wow.
Yes.
couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
Like
Perfect.
that's the kind of stuff that happens in like Western Massachusetts. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm with that. I love it.
That's Washington State Island culture too. Like you can hitchhike all over. People give you rides.
I had a wedding client last summer who asked if I would cater their wedding, and I told them that I didn't cater weddings anymore. I recently retired from catering weddings because I kept having awful experiences with like it's just too high pressure. Like, not that I didn't think we would execute well. It's just usually somebody ruins it for me.
Yeah.
May or may not be mothers of the bride more often than not. It's just like something, it's, this whole like, this is the most important day of their life thing. It just makes it miserable. And there's these wedding planners who are like, they're experts at managing that. But I'm not. I just want to make a nice meal for 100 people.
Mm.
And so then they talked me into it, and it became the story of his wedding. It was in his speech. It was like the the fact that I was like, no, I won't do it, and then they converted that
We
that
forced
created
him
this
to do it.
arc. Yeah, and then it feels like there's this triumphant storyline, right? Like, wouldn't it would be
Yeah.
boring if we just did this every day,
Yeah.
I guess people are all just people really, to I don't know, to summarize it, people want to feel special. I feel like that's what restaurants are for. That's how we're going to beat
Yeah.
the Uber Eats and the fried chicken pandemic or epidemic or whatever, is by delivering something that makes people feel really special, whether it's a burger and a beer when they're having a tough day, or celebrating their like kids basketball team win at the big table for 20, everyone's having pizza and it's great, or whether it's like their 50th anniversary and you did something magnificent, they remember how you make them feel.
Yeah. Brendan, real quick, last time I popped into Oyster Cellar at First and Marion in downtown Seattle. I chatted with Alex Jackson, the chef, and he said you were doing pop-ups here and there. It was a few months ago. Is that still happening at Oyster Cellar?
Yeah, Alex has a fantastic concept called Rubies that he has been
Yeah.
workshopping, that he's looking to the future for. And if you
Okay.
follow Ruby's Veg Attack on Instagram,
Hmm.
you'll be able to see when and where those pop-ups are going to take place. Um, yeah, Alex, it's been such an honor working with him. He's such a stud,
I
and
love him.
me too. And he basically said that he would like this to be his last job.
Okay.
And so I am so in support of his next steps there because I love it when somebody is like, I'm gonna go do it for myself now, like
Yeah.
more than ready.
Is he still doing that? Is he still popping up? Can we catch that in the near future?
I don't think he has any dates on the calendar. I think he's might even be working on securing a space for it.
Cool.
So,
Well, let's all
I think
follow the IG account then.
yeah, Ruby's Veg Attack. It's fun, vegetable focused, and it surprised me a little bit because I didn't like know him to be a vegetarian, and he just said, I kind of feel like this is the future. This is where things are
Okay.
going, and
Is he a
there's a market
vegetarian?
built in for it. No,
He's a seafood
he just
chef.
yeah, and he loves to eat vegetables.
Yeah.
But as
I
far as like
mean,
a business goes, he sees I think a niche there
okay.
in an authentic way. Not like, oh, I'm gonna
Smart.
go take advantage of these guys, but like any vegetarian will very purposefully eat at vegetarian restaurants. You're
Right.
taking a big segment of the population and
Yeah.
doing something that will make them feel special, and they'll probably appreciate it.
Hey, Brendan, how are we doing on time? Do you have somewhere to be?
No, I'm good.
No.
If you want to
Okay.
go, if you want to hit some of our bullet points,
Well, there's two more things I want to cover. One is, do you want to argue about raw milk like we were doing on Facebook?
yeah, let's get
I was
into
just
it.
trolling you. I know fuck all about raw
Me
milk. I just
too. Me
shared.
too. Talking about,
So
oh,
I
I'm
shared a
thirsty.
thing on my Facebook wall that was like someone's Tumblr post that they were like, here's the thing about raw milk: cows shit. They're covered in shit all the time. They like to roll around in the shit. Dairy cows are dirty. That's why we need pasteurization. And I just shared it. And then Brendan's like, I just drank a gallon of raw milk and now all I have immunity toward everything. And our pediatrician recommends it. And I was just like trolling because that's who I am. But the truth is that I don't know anything about raw milk. I understand why we have pasteurization. I understand why you would want to make cheese out of it. Do you buy raw milk? Do you feed it
I
to your
do.
children, Brendan?
Yeah, my baby drinks
Okay.
raw milk.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Exclusively?
So yeah. Well, I mean, he drinks his mom's raw milk most of the time,
Yes.
and then we also buy raw cow milk from a single cow dairy, um, and that's the milk that we keep in our house. My kids pour it on their cereal. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I love talking about this because, well, part of me is like the contrarian. What I found lately is that it's become very politically coded. And so all of a sudden, I have people really mad at me about enjoying raw milk.
Okay.
And that's the part that I kind of troll back on because I think
Sure.
it's corny. People who have never had a glass of raw milk, they hurry up, they run and go Google what the National Institute of
Yeah.
Health says about it, and then like
Sure.
quote that to me.
Okay. Be like, thank you. I've
Basically,
read it from the last
yeah,
person who sent it to me.
Then
right,
all of a
yeah,
sudden, it's not just people who have strong opinions about raw milk versus not raw milk. It's people who just don't have any idea what they're talking about, but they think it's related to politics. So then they want to get in
Right.
everybody's face about it.
Right.
the
Yeah.
only reason they have a strong opinion against raw milk is because like this RFK Jr. slash trad wife uh, Venn diagram,
Sure.
overlap.
Then
Sure.
In my
intersection. Yeah.
opinion, I
Okay.
I would be willing to bet whatever I got that it's not because they lost a dear friend to listeria from drinking raw
No.
milk, and now they're passionate crusaders against the safety of raw milk. Um, my like elevator pitch is basically like raw milk has been consumed by humans for 10,000 years, and it has always been considered there's this milk, right? And it was a wholesome, life sustaining little bit of agriculture that people have enjoyed. They make cheeses out of it. They culture it into sour cream and yogurts and dairy and stuff. Like, obviously, that's like a huge part of our history of our food culture, almost everywhere in the world. From any ruminant animal, right? From moose to water buffalo
Mm-hmm.
and yak and
Goats.
yeah,
Yeah.
goats, sheep, all of them. When it became industrialized, all that shit got in the milk, and it's a shitty industrial product. So sometime around the Industrial Revolution, there was big outbreaks of listeria because people were trying to scale milk without the
Okay.
technology to do that safely.
Got it.
When they did that, pasteurization kills the bacteria. It kills all of the enzymes and immunoglobulins, and it denatures the proteins. So it takes
Mm-hmm.
away from things that are arguably beneficial to your health. People will also argue that those proteins, once they're denatured, are harder to digest and increase the intolerance to it for your own digestion. So it makes it a product that is you're more likely to be allergic to, and you probably get less from ingesting it. It also
But what about the
allows,
shit, Brendan? What about all the shit?
well, that's the thing. It allows for shitty milk. Like, if all you have to do is cook it, then you don't try not to get shit in it. And the people who are
Right.
really familiar with this stuff will say that, like, first of all, you're drinking the torture milk, right? Because you got
Right.
like 100 cows hooked up to this machine that's yanking on them.
Mm-hmm.
They got antibiotics for the open sores on their udders, and all the shit that's all around everything. They're putting a filter on it, and the filters fill up with it. But don't worry, they pasteurize it.
Right.
Whereas somebody who has one cow who lovingly cleans its udders and milks it, they might be sharing that with its calf. People think that veal is like this cruel concept, but veal is a byproduct of the dairy industry. If they don't breed them and
Right.
have, veal,
Beals.
then veals, then they would not be lactating. And
Yeah.
so I think like the moral high ground is, way better on the like tiny dairy, one cow,
Right.
being lovingly tended to by a person who talk about just doing like a public service. They're not getting rich. BlackRock
Right.
does not own any raw dairies.
Right.
Um, so I feel like when people really get mad about the existence of raw dairy, it's like I mean, talk about a bootlicker, they're just shilling for capitalism. It's like,
Yeah. Right.
I only drink corporate death milk, and I demand you do too.
I
And to put
think
a
the most
pin in it,
interesting point you've made is that the existence of pasteurization enables more shit to get into your milk. Whereas if we
yeah,
didn't have pasteurization,
I never really
they
understood the shit argument in the first place. Like, you're saying that because the cow rolls around in shit, somehow its milk is not clean. Like, that'd be like saying that just because you took a bottle of milk out of a pile of shit, the milk wasn't clean anymore.
they're saying
well, it's
that
the
the
udders.
shit gets on the udders and
Well,
on
yeah,
people's
but
hands. It's
I
just
would
in the
assume
air and
that,
everything
like
is
you
coated
said,
in
if
shit.
a human is milking the cow, they probably are making sure that there's as little shit in the equation as
Right.
possible at the time of milking, I would
Hypothetically,
imagine.
but that's why pasteurization was invented because there was shit getting in the milk in
Mm,
Right.
1908
But
or
the
whatever.
pasteurization wasn't invented because there was some little farmhouse somewhere, and,
Right.
someone's grandma was milking the cattle and getting the village sick. It was
Yeah.
invented so that, like in
right.
Chicago, the beef packing and giant dairy, like the burgeoning commercialization of dairy, wouldn't
Yeah,
have these massive outbreaks.
capitalism ruined it
Um,
already. That's why they had to start pasteurizing it.
It was invented because people were dying, but capitalism didn't want to close the giant factory farms.
they
Instead,
created
they,
that.
yeah,
They
Well, that's what
created
I'm saying. Like,
those
people wouldn't die
conditions.
right,
without the big factory farms. Exactly. Like,
right.
nobody's dying when it's a single cow farm.
I'm
It's just
sure they
like,
were occasionally. Like, I think Abraham Lincoln's mom died of milking bad milk or some shit like that.
Right.
I don't know if there was shit in the milk. I wasn't there.
Michael Pollan had a great quote in
Oh, I love him.
Omnivore's Dilemma about the beef industry and the preponderance of the likelihood of getting shit on your meat, right? Because they have the same argument there. big beef would like to irradiate your beef. They want to
Right.
microwave it without cooking it so that it kills the shit, that the E.
So they
coli
can
in the
have
gut.
100,000 cows in a
Right.
barn. Yeah.
They don't want to stop the conveyor belt when they accidentally cut into the bowel when they're doing
Yeah.
this.
Right.
And so microwave it.
Cost money.
But guess what? You could just not get shit on your meat. And ooh, it keeps going. The E. coli wouldn't affect humans if they weren't finished on corn because the pH of a cow's rumen is so much higher that oh no, so much lower, no, so much higher so that our gut bacteria would kill it, except for
Yeah.
they have made it harm they've made it possible for it to harm humans by finishing them on corn, which is extremely harmful to the cattle. So these practices that are easy to avoid with your purchasing decisions,
Right.
that's what makes it dangerous to have it. And the WSDA oversees raw milk and permits it and approves it. It requires elaborate testing, site visits, much more oversight than the torture milk. So I
Where
think
can
that
we
we should
try
be.
raw milk? Who will sell us some raw milk here in the Seattle Bainbridge area?
There is an outfit called the Dungeness Valley Dairy, I believe, up near Squim. I think they're one of the larger outfits. And I know that at the Borrowed Kitchen Bakery in Kingston, they receive deliveries of that milk there. And it's like people track what day it gets dropped off so they can go strip the supply immediately
It's
because
crazy
it's
how
so
hard it is
popular.
to find. I was not expecting you to say somewhere like, yeah, that's crazy. Like you're saying
Yeah,
that it probably would be really hard to get like in the city.
I think so. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I used to sell it out of our deli from the same outfit. And when our health inspector saw it, her eyes just about bugged out of her head. And then she ran and inspected the label and then followed up to make damn sure that it was a WSDA inspected, as it should be, source of raw milk. We're still not legally allowed to cook with it, so I can't even steam it in a latte for you, but I can sell you the jug. Yeah. I'll tell you, for me, in summation, it's all about real food. My love of this isn't it's just like anything else. Um, I want to be able to raise a pig and slaughter it and dry cure its loin and slice it and sell it to you. I want to be able to milk a cow and enjoy that product, share it with my friends and family, and I would share it with my restaurant guests. It all falls under the same umbrella. And I don't think that the authorities who regulate food are experts on food or nutrition, um, and necessarily like they move people from working in sanitation, like they take them from the sewer program to the food safety program based on policy. A lot of it's written by politicians, highly influenced by big ag money.
Okay. I'm not endorsing. I'm not telling anyone to go eat raw milk, but Brendan has told you hopefully where to get it. I do like the idea of making cheese out of it. Sounds like I have a lot of reading to do though.
What are your concerns, like, other than
I just never
the
had it
fact that
before. That's it.
right, yeah,
It's
but let me ask you something.
Do you think there's a risk of getting sick if you consume raw milk?
me
So
personally.
Yeah.
No, because I would get it from somewhere that checks their shit out. Like
Right. I feel the same
you
way.
don't
Like,
know what stupid thing people are gonna do though, right? Like they're
right,
gonna go.
I guess how I feel is that I know that I disagree with what the big BlackRock farms are doing. Like
Right.
that's 100% sure. So like
Sure, but
right.
correlation isn't causation.
I'd
Like
rather take a chance on somebody who's probably doing the right thing.
for me
I mean,
personally, I'm not worried about myself. I'm worried about what dumb people will do. They'll go buy a fucking cow and not sanitize. Like people are dumb. That's all. That's
Earthbound
it.
Organic Farms spinach, right? That's where you see these listeria outbreaks,
Right.
and E. coli
Yeah.
outbreaks downstream
Iceberg.
from massive cattle processing facilities. Or, what I always curious about is that if people are so concerned about each other's health to actually go out and try to stop people from doing this, like why do we have cocktail bars? I mean,
Right. Drug
there's
dispensaries. Yeah.
there are substances that we all enjoy or at least I think we all agree that are that people should have the right to go enjoy,
Yeah.
that are absolutely detrimental to your health, no question. Um,
When you frame it like the reason we're doing this is because we're so concerned that other people might be doing things that are bad for their health, it's actually hilarious.
It's
Like,
very what about the children though? Children drink milk. They could
yeah, I
die. That kind of
guess. It's
shit.
just like, since when has this country been in the business of caring about other people at all in the last few years? Like,
No. Nobody.
never mind what they're eating. It's like, no, like, yeah, I've just
They're just
crashed out there. Like,
grandstanding.
I don't, yeah.
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 So that's all I got for you on that one. But I
Cool.
am glad to talk about it.
Thanks for letting me troll you a little bit. You were very nice.
Thanks, thanks for letting me get all worked up about it.
Sure.
You know what?
Well,
I feel like there's
go ahead.
people who don't know very much about it, and they also are in support of it, probably just because of this, like, don't tread on me type of thing.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it kind of turns into this funny like political war, like here we are just in this divided country, just yeah. And I mean, it's something for people to be aware of, that like, let's just say that you are a progressive liberal democratic voter who wants to expand that point of view and have more people like not like vote for Donald Trump or something, let's just say, um, attacking someone who's like agriculturally inclined and enjoys raw milk.
Right.
I'm not saying you're responsible for the decisions they make from there, but that's not really like, building a big tent that everybody gets to be in. Like, I just think we have bigger fish to fry.
Sure. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Like it or don't like it, drink it or don't drink it, it's good content. So thank you for
Hell
talking
yeah.
about it.
I hope so.
I don't
I hope
endorse either stance.
if I get like firebombed for this, I'm gonna blame you.
Yeah, I did it. I'm going to firebomb you later. That's why I asked what you're doing later, because I want to make sure I can firebomb you. The last thing I want to talk about was what we ate. Seeing as the name of this podcast is called Thanks I Ate It, I love to just endorse, speaking of endorsing, things that we tried at restaurants or from local producers that we liked. Hey, Jeff, I'll start with you. Did you eat anything interesting this week or previous or in your entire life? Because this is the first episode, so you don't have to say since the last episode.
Yeah, no, I'll go recently.
Okay.
I like thinking about food in the context of like a situation. So the most exciting thing I ate this week was a hawk dog at my job. It was something we put on our special like game day menu, and it was like from Olympia Provisions. It was like a foot long hot dog. We did cream cheese. We did caramelized onions, jalapenos. It was really good, and
Like it.
I ate it on the roof of the hotel while there was nobody there because we don't have TVs, so everybody was at the game, and I was just chomping into a hot dog while I was watching the
Good.
fireworks come up as Seattle was just blowing the Niners out in the first
Yeah.
half of that game. So like that was pretty cool. Like I just love the energy of the city when that's going on. I think being on the roof and being able to see and feel and hear the stadium is just something that I really enjoy. So that
You
hot
can
dog,
feel the vibrations from the fireworks
yeah,
and everything, I'm sure. Yeah.
yeah, and
That's so fun.
I'm a big sports guy in general. So yeah,
Cool.
that was a special hot dog.
Was it on the menu or did you just make it?
No, it was on the menu. We did like,
Yeah.
we had the Darnold Palmer, we had the Shahida Rita, we had the Kenneth
Nice.
Boilermaker the third. Like it was a whole the Bobo Mojo for the real people that are all about Bobo.
Nice.
Yeah,
Real ones, no.
real ones know Bobo.
Um,
I just learned about Bobo after because we
Bourgeois
called it Shea
Bohem, right?
Bobo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
yeah.
was like, I
I
saw
just
someone
learned
with a
about it
jersey
from
that
both of
said
you.
Bobo.
That's funny.
Anything else, Jeff?
No, that's what I got. Hot
That's
dog
the
for
only
the
thing. How
week.
about you, Brendan? You eat anything interesting lately?
Man, I almost always feel like when we do these, I'm like, I just never eat out anywhere these days
Right.
because of
You
my
eat your
my
own food.
schedule, my family
Yeah.
life, and my location now. But I did that event with De La Soil, Cody
Oh, I
Westerfield.
want to go there so bad. How was
Yeah,
that?
it was so fun. It was called Dinner with
Okay.
Friends, and he invited some chef buddies of his to come and just like do a collaborative dinner where people sit and dine all at once together instead of his usual sort of walk up window format. But after our meal, which was really fun to execute, I said, "Where's the place to eat around here? I got about an hour to the next ferry." And he was like, "There's one of those taco stands right across the street." This is up in Kenmore. When I say one of those stands, I mean the ones that you're like, the ones they're trying to shut down now, you know? And it just couldn't have been any better. I mean, I can't remember a better taco I've had in the area. They had the
Does it have
huge
a name?
plancha and a trompo. No, but if you look up De La Soil and you drive across the street and go about 100 yards to the south in front of in front of the Bank of America, um, you can't miss it. It's like a white van with a tent and some like festival lights. And
I'm writing notes down on a notepad. I'm
there
gonna
was
look it up.
like
I'm gonna figure
they
it
had
out.
the cabeza, the chorizo, the al
Ooh,
pastor,
cabeza. Amazing.
and it was like the meat was like sizzling, burning hot when he handed it to me. They were $3 a taco. Um,
Incredible. Great
it
price.
wasn't.
Wow.
Yeah, well, there was no prices posted, and so I don't know. Maybe there's a
You'll pay
sliding
for what they
scale.
charge you and you'll like it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
it was great.
That sounds fucking dope. Anything else? I'm letting
There's
us
a
each have three. If you have three things
Yeah,
you ate.
yeah, I got you. The other day I was on Capitol Hill doing something, and I hit my old neighborhood, East Cherry Street at MLK, where I lived in 2009,
Okay.
and I dropped by Cafe Salam, and I hadn't been
Okay.
there for a long time.
That's right
I
by my
just
high
love,
school.
I just love that restaurant. You
Yeah, that
know,
place is
it's
great.
like
Um,
the homegirl Amele work. She's still there. Her mom cooks. She refers to her as mommy. She'll be like, "Oh, hold on, mommy's got the lamb ready for you." Like
Love it.
I love it. I love it. And if there's a better
Fantastic.
Ethiopian place out there, I don't know, because I just like that's just the one I always go to.
Seattle has a lot of good Ethiopian places, frankly. That one's very good.
Yeah,
Um, they've been
I
there
can
forever
imagine that
too.
there's someone who's pushed the bar forward, in the last like 16 years, but it feels like
Sure.
coming home for me.
There can
And
be
then
multiple wonderful Ethiopian restaurants in Seattle. It's not a contest.
it's not a contest. The
No.
other one that I hit this last week is High Life on Bainbridge Island. My
Okay.
buddy Makoto Kimoto, he
Yeah.
owns Rondo, Tamari Bar, Gyogyo Inn, and he makes the katsu
Bite bites
at the
Baitan?
Baiten as well.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what he calls the katsu joint in the stadium, but he's a hustler, and he just
I don't
sold it to
remember.
his partners over there. So he came
Oh,
in to say
really?
goodbye, basically.
Aw.
Like he was like, "Well, I'm not going to be around here too much anymore." And I was
Aw.
like, "No,"
That
you
guy's a
know.
character. He's on the Mariners commercials. Do you know who this is, Jeff? Makoto
Oh,
Kimoto.
no, I don't.
He does the 206 curry at the stadium.
Oh,
And
Okay,
that's
he's a
right.
so
character.
it's curry.
He's a piece of work. And I love all of his restaurants.
He is so funny, and whenever I
Yeah.
look up and he's at the bar at Seabird or Kingfisher now, it's just like
Yeah.
it's exciting. I love seeing
Yeah.
the chefs come
He's
through.
a
So I'll miss him
celebrity.
on the block. Yeah.
I've actually never met him, but I talk to him online sometimes, and I'm a big fan of his. Someday I'll meet him.
Sometimes I think the comedies like there's a little bit of a translation gap.
Maybe.
It's like there's this earnestness because you
Yeah,
say
he's
things the way you might not
enthusiastic, and
otherwise
that's
say
what I
it.
like about him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He said, "I won't be around, but let's be friends forever."
Aw.
And I was like, "Oh,
But he meant that shit. That shit came from his soul, right? Like,
I'm saying, yeah."
yeah.
So go to
Love it.
his places. They're
Cute.
spectacular.
What did I eat? I went to La Llorona, which is in the old Nightlight in Belltown, next to the Moor, which they
Oh,
were
yeah.
working on for like a year, maybe over a year. My partner and I split early from an event that had bad food, and then we went to La Llorona, and they had pretty dope, like Guadalajara style al pastor tacos. We just got a taco plate, lots of grilled pineapple, nice and smoky. I loved it.
Oh
I
yeah.
was out at Lady J. I'm going to try to go quick because I have 5, even though I only gave you guys 3.
Oh,
I was at Lady
get 'em.
J, hanging out with my bestie, looking for a mocktail, and she's an NA drinker. So they had some great mocktails, which I'm getting my cocktail column revived at The Stranger. It's shorter now, but I wrote about a mocktail, which should come out next week, I think. And it was called the Live and Let Dry. It was nice and herbaceous. It had the stuff called Livener by Three Spirit, which is a UK NA booze producer, and it had like Wayusa leaves, which are caffeinated. They're like a kind of a holly tree, and it had hibiscus and schisandra berries, which are related to star anise. It was really interesting, and I like that a lot. At Lady J, I sort of am against plant-based ice cream, but I ate at Frankie and Joe's and had a scoop of their California Cabin, which is coconut-based, and I loved it. So I got to admit it was $7.50 or some shit like that for a scoop of fucking ice cream. But I ate it all and like scraped. Huh?
Why are you? What do you have against the?
Because I like dairy so much. I'm not against other people eating it. I don't give a fuck if people eat, but
I was curious. Yeah.
I prefer creamy dairy. That's all. But they did a pop up
like raw.
I might like raw.
I was
gonna
say you're somewhere in the middle right now. I mean, you could get.
I'm not against it.
Further in the one.
Look, I've never had it. If someone wants to point me toward raw milk ice cream, I'll probably love it.
My wife makes it, and it's delicious.
Oh yeah.
I just think it's so.
They did
funny
a
that Brendan's
pop-up.
like, you should have raw milk, but you should also like plant-based ice cream. And he's right. It's like, yeah, you should like all of it.
If something is good, if something tastes good, it is good. That's what Mark DeJoy always says. It doesn't have to be authentic. Anyway, I walked by Howdy Bagel. I walked by Howdy Bagel in Tacoma. I wanted a coffee because I hadn't had coffee today. I tried to go in and buy a can of Olympia coffee, and they said, we're doing a Frankie and Joe's pop-up. We can't sell you the canned coffee. And I was like, well, I got to have something to sit in my office. So I got a scoop of this coconut-based California Cabin ice cream. It had black pepper and cardamom shortbread in it, and a little bit of pine and smoked vanilla. And it was fucking killer. And I'm telling you that I was wrong. I was wrong to only to eschew plant-based ice cream because it was dope as hell.
That's my exact flavor that I get when I go there. It's really good.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Are you pro plant-based ice cream?
I'm pro all ice cream.
Yeah.
I don't feel strongly about it one way or the other. I was just curious what your beef was with it, because you're like, I don't like
It's not a beef.
You know?
I just, if I can have real ice cream with dairy in it, that's what I'll buy. But I'm here to eat some crow. I'm saying, I wanted something else, and I went in, and then there was this plant-based ice cream. It was fucking good.
It's good. If you soak cashews and blend them and add sugar and churn it, it tastes good. It's a pretty good sub.
Yeah, and I like cashews and I like coconut. Why the fuck not, right? Oh, and then I wanted to talk about Mountain View Meats. My partner Steven and I went down to a butcher down in Tacoma, just like out of the city limits. It might be over the line into Lakewood. Or maybe it's in Midland technically, but we bought a 35-pound pack of just, a mixed, we got a chuck roast, we got a couple chickens, we got some house-made bratwurst and house-made German-style bologna. They gave us ground beef, they gave us a rib steak, a bunch of different stuff for $300. And I think it's sourced in Spokane. It's like the Hutterite Brethren farm, and they're like Amish people.
Yeah, that sounds
way out in Spokane or Ritzville or something like that. But it's delicious, and it was kind of like a no duh moment. Like it's leagues and bounds ahead of supermarket food or supermarket meat. Obviously, I actually will confess that I don't like to cook a lot of meat at home because I don't like the supermarket meat. It fucking tastes bad, and I can't afford the really nice stuff. So by getting a 35-pound pack, put it in the chest freezer. That's how we're hacking it.
Good for you.
Great. Yeah.
If everybody did that, I mean, can you imagine the shift?
I recommend it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do this date night thing when we were first dating 13 years ago. We got like a quarter of a pig or something like that, and we would close our eyes and reach into the freezer and grab a piece and then figure out together how we were going to cook it based on our preferences and what we liked and didn't like, and it was an interesting way to get to know each other. So we're doing Meat Club again. Like it's
those guys at Lady J do a meat box, right?
Oh, do they? Really?
Yeah, it's collaborative with our friends at the Preservation Meat Collective. So as I understand it, they build a box out of their, what's available and what they think their guests will like, and I don't know. I think it's once a month or something. Yeah, you should ask them about it.
I should ask them about it because I'd love to interview both Sarah Rosales, who's the owner of Lady J, and also the Preservation Meat guys. So I'm going to write a little note about that. That's a good introduction to preservation, I think. Or it would be.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Yeah, I mean,
find
if you want
out
to talk
more
to those
about it.
guys, Cian is incredible. He's one of my
I'd
best
really like
friends.
to. Like, you're like the fifth person who said I should interview him, so I think I will, if he's
Yeah, I
willing.
mean, I don't know what we would do as far as like finding meats. Like, I feel like talk about someone who walks the walk, right? Those
Right.
guys just only carry good stuff, and
Cool.
what a great business model.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to chat with him. That's it. Those are all the things I ate. Um, Thank you so much, Brendan, for joining us. Always fascinating, always well spoken. I appreciate all of your points. Always patient and always smiling.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me, and thanks for the platform and for being someone
Yeah.
who loves restaurants and loves food. And you know, I admire outsiders who, for some reason, give a shit about what we're doing. You know, like it means a lot to me that someone like you, this is interesting enough to you to build your life's work around it. So thank you.